8,000 kilometers of track, 27 countries, one ancient network that holds Europe's greatest secret. Every year, millions of travelers fly over landscapes that were meant to be experienced at exactly 47 miles per hour, the perfect speed for human wonder. They miss what researchers call the transformation threshold, that precise velocity where the world stops being scenery and starts becoming story. Hidden within Europe's vast railway network lie 8 routes that defy everything we thought we knew about travel. These aren't just trains. They're time machines disguised as locomotives, threading through landscapes so impossible that engineers once declared them fantasies. From Scotland's last wilderness to Romania's dragon-haunted mountains, from Norway's midnight sun to Portugal's vertical vineyards, these railways carry something more precious than passengers. They carry the last authentic experiences of a continent that's rapidly forgetting how to slow down. What photographers and travel writers have discovered changes everything. The most breathtaking views in Europe aren't from plane windows at 30,000 feet or from famous viewpoints clogged with selfie sticks. They're revealed at rail level, where medieval villages appear like mirages, where Atlantic storms chase trains across viaducts, where glaciers tell their billion-year stories to those traveling slowly enough to listen. Travelers who take these 8 routes report not just seeing Europe, but understanding it, as if the rhythm of the rails unlocks something primal in human perception. The Swiss knew this when they carved through the Alps. The Scots knew it when they built across the Highlands. And deep in Romania's Banat Mountains, where our journey begins, an impossible railway carved by hand before dynamite was invented, proves that sometimes the greatest achievements come from the simplest tools and the strongest will. The transformation starts now. 8 railways, 8 revelations, one journey that will forever change how you see Europe. "33 kilometers through the Banat Mountains, 14 tunnels carved by hand, 10 viaducts spanning valleys so deep the wind swallows sound. This is the Oravita-Anina Railway. Built in 1863 before dynamite existed, when Italian stonemasons conquered mountains with nothing but chisels, pickaxes, and impossible determination. The statistics defy belief. Climbing 338 meters from Oravita to the mining town of Anina, the railway twists through curves so tight, just 114 meters radius, that modern trains can't handle them. The journey takes 2 hours to cover what cars drive in 30 minutes. But speed was never the point. What engineers achieved here rewrote possibility itself. The Jatin Viaduct rises 37 meters above an ancient valley, 5 stone arches holding trains suspended between earth and sky. When you cross it, there's that moment. Every passenger reports it, where you realize nothing beneath you but 19th century stonework and faith. Locals still use these viaducts for pendulum jumping. The longest tunnel, Garlischt, stretches 660 meters through solid limestone. Its architect, Johann Ludwig Dollhoff, threw himself from one of his own viaducts when the 2 excavation teams missed their meeting point by 3 meters. They corrected his tunnel but kept his name, a ghost embedded in the mountain itself. The Oravita-Anina doesn't just cross mountains, it proves what humans can achieve when they refuse to accept impossible. But if Romanian stonemasons conquered mountains with hand tools, Italy's coastal engineers faced an even more audacious challenge, connecting 5 villages that shouldn't exist. Five ancient fishing villages, 12 miles of volcanic cliffs, one railway that engineers called an act of madness. The Cinque Terre Express doesn't just connect towns, it threads through rock that took the Mediterranean 15 million years to sculpt. When Italian engineers first surveyed this coastline in 1874, they documented something remarkable. These 5 villages had existed for 1,000 years without a single road between them. Locals traveled by boat or ancient mule tracks, creating cultures so distinct that each village developed its own dialect. What the railway revealed stunned anthropologists. Hidden between the tunnels, 51 of them in just 12 miles, lie terraced vineyards that defy gravity itself. These dry stone walls, built without mortar, stretch for over 4,000 miles if laid end to end. That's longer than the Great Wall of China, yet completely unknown until the railway exposed them to the outside world. Travelers report a phenomenon unique to this route. Every emergence from a tunnel brings a complete sensory transformation. The darkness smells of volcanic basalt and ancient time. Then, in an instant, you explode into Mediterranean light, salt air, and villages painted in colors that shouldn't exist in nature, yet do. Photographers have measured it. The journey provides exactly 23 seconds of coastal view, then 45 seconds of darkness, creating a rhythm that marine biologists say matches the human heartbeat at rest. Here's what UNESCO discovered. When they declared this a World Heritage Site, the railway itself has become part of the ecosystem. Rare orchids now grow only in the microclimate created by tunnel ventilation. Peregrine falcons nest in the viaduct arches. The trains have been running the exact same schedule since 1928, and local fishermen time their boats by the morning express. As the train pulls into Monterosso, where lemon groves meet the Ligurian Sea, you realize something profound. This isn't just transportation, it's choreography. But if Italy's coastal ballet seems impossible, Scotland's West Highland line rewrote the very laws of geography. In 1889, British engineers declared it impossible. No railway could traverse Scotland's Rannoch Moor, a 50-square-mile bog, so treacherous that deer sink without trace and compasses spin wildly from magnetic rocks beneath the peat. 5 years later, a train crossed it. The solution remains one of engineering's most audacious gambles. Workers floated the railway on a mattress of tree roots, brushwood, and thousands of tons of earth and ash, creating what engineers call a floating railway, tracks that literally ride on top of an ancient bog that's never been fully measured for depth. During storms, passengers report feeling the track bed gently undulate, like a ship on calm seas. But Rannoch Moor was merely the prelude. At Glenfinnan, the railway performs an act of architectural poetry. A concrete viaduct curves so dramatically that passengers can photograph their own train from their window seats. What Hollywood made famous in Harry Potter, Highland tribes have known for centuries. This is where the ancient boundaries between Scotland's kingdoms converged. where Bonnie Prince Charlie raised his standard in 1745, where the mountains themselves seem to pause in reverence. The journey culminates where the small isles, Room, Eigg, Muck, and Canna, rise from the sea like ancient sentinels. On clear days, passengers glimpse the Isle of Skye's Culin Mountains, their jagged peaks still bearing Gaelic names that predate written language. Mullaig itself, though small, serves as the ferry terminal to these islands, making the railway not an endpoint, but a gateway to Scotland's last truly wild places. Locals reveal what the tourist boards won't advertise. On certain October evenings, when the light strikes at precisely the right angle, you can see both the Atlantic and North Sea from the same train window, a phenomenon that occurs nowhere else in Britain. The ancient Celts called this thin places, where the distance between worlds collapses. The West Highland line doesn't just cross Scotland, it reveals why the Romans stopped here, why the Vikings struggled here, why this landscape has never truly been conquered. But if Scotland guards Europe's last wilderness, wait until you discover what the Swiss achieved when they decided to pierce the very heart of the Alps. "8 hours to travel 180 miles. In an age of speed, the Glacier Express commits an act of rebellion. It travels deliberately slowly, because the Swiss engineers who built it understood something profound. Some landscapes demand reverence. The statistics alone defy comprehension. 291 bridges, 91 tunnels, gradients that climb 11,000 feet, using no rack and pinion, just the impossible physics of adhesion between steel wheel and steel rail. But numbers can't capture what happens at the Oberalp Pass, where at 6,670 feet, the train enters what glaciologists call deep time, surrounded by ice that remembers the last ice age. Researchers studying passenger accounts discovered a consistent phenomenon somewhere between Andermatt and Descentis. Travelers stopped taking photographs, not from boredom, but from overwhelm. The human brain, confronted with the Rhone Glacier's blue caverns and the Rhine Gorge's vertical mathematics, simply surrenders. Alpine cultures have known this for millennia. They call it Bergzauber, mountain magic. That state where human consciousness aligns with geological time. What the railway reveals is Switzerland's secret architecture. Villages built not where humans wanted them, but where avalanches couldn't reach. Church spires designed as sundials for valleys that see sunlight only 4 hours in winter. Forests planted by hand in the 1800s to protect the tracks, now indistinguishable from nature itself. The Swiss didn't conquer the Alps. They negotiated a peace treaty written in iron and wood. Climate scientists monitoring the route report something heartbreaking. The train passes 43 glaciers, but by 2050, only 20 will remain visible. The Rhone Glacier, which passengers could once touch from the train window, has retreated 450 feet in just a decade. The Glacier Express has become an unintentional documentary, recording in real time what we're losing. Yet between Zermatt and St. Moritz, where the Matterhorn watches like Europe's ancient guardian, the train still delivers its promise. Passage through a world that makes humans remember their actual size. And if Switzerland teaches humility through altitude, Norway's Bergen Railway reveals what happens when you travel beyond the reach of the sun itself. At Cinque station, 4,010 feet above sea level, something extraordinary happens. You've reached the highest point of any European railway, and simultaneously the most isolated. No roads lead here. In winter, the only access is by train or ski. This is where Mr. Amundsen trained for his South Pole expedition, where The Empire Strikes Back filmed its ice planet, where Europe keeps its last true wilderness under lock and key. The Bergen Railway crosses the Hardanger Plateau, Europe's largest mountain plateau and home to the continent's last wild reindeer herds, 10,000 strong. Biologists have documented that the railway, rather than disrupting migration patterns, has become part of them. The herds have learned the train schedules, crossing the tracks in the exact 12-minute window between services, a dance of survival perfected over 120 years. But the true revelation comes at Myrtle, where brave souls switch to the Flom Railway, the steepest train ride on normal tracks in the world. In just 12 miles, you descend 2,838 feet through 20 tunnels, each one hand-carved through solid mountain. Engineers achieved this by working only in summer, progressing just 1 meter per month. It took 20 years to complete 12 miles. What photographers struggle to capture is the light, or rather its absence and abundance. In December, the sun never rises above the mountains. By June, it never fully sets. Travelers report temporal displacement, that strange sensation where your body loses all sense of time. The midnight sun doesn't just illuminate, it transforms. Waterfalls run upward in the wind, shadows fall in impossible directions. Reality bends like the light itself. The journey culminates where the Sognefjord meets the Norwegian Sea, where waters run so deep that scientists have found Caribbean coral growing in the darkness, carried by the Gulf Stream's warmth. This railway doesn't just connect Oslo to Bergen, it connects the Arctic to the tropics, the possible to the impossible. And speaking of the impossible, if Norway's railway dances with extremes of light and darkness, Germany's Black Forest Railway plunges into the very heart of European mythology. "39 tunnels. That's what it took to pierce the Black Forest, a woodland so dense that Romans named it Silva Nigra, the Black Wood, because sunlight couldn't penetrate its canopy. 2,000 years later, even with modern engineering, the forest still makes its own rules. The Schwarzwaldbahn doesn't just travel through the forest, it descends through layers of time. Clock-making villages appear like temporal anomalies, where workshops still craft mechanical movements by hand, where the world's largest cuckoo clocks mark time for trains that have run the same schedule since 1873. Hornberg, Treberg, St. Georgen, each station reads like a Brothers Grimm contents page. But here's what cultural anthropologists discovered. The railway saved these villages from their own success. In the 1800s, Black forest clocks were so coveted that entire communities were stripping their forests to feed the craft. The railway brought coal, saving the trees. Today, satellites confirm what seems impossible. The Black Forest is actually denser now than it was 150 years ago, when the first train pierced its darkness. Engineers report an acoustic phenomenon unique to this route. Inside the tunnels, the forest silence becomes absolute. No echoes, no reverberations. The granite and red sandstone absorb sound so completely that passengers instinctively whisper, then emerging into light, the forest explodes in sound, woodpeckers, streams, wind through pine needles, a symphony that existed long before humans arrived. At Treberg, where Germany's highest waterfalls thunder 536 feet through granite, the train performs an engineering ballet, a complete loop inside the mountain, emerging 60 feet higher than it entered. Passengers experience the disorientation of seeing the same waterfall from opposite angles within minutes. Local legends say this is where time loops back on itself, where the forest gods play tricks on modern travelers. The Black Forest Railway reveals Germany's duality, the precise engineering that conquered nature and the ancient woodland that refuses to be conquered. Between the mechanical and the mythical, between clockwork and chaos, the train carries you through the landscape that gave birth to every fairy tale you've ever known. But if Germany's railway navigates between order and mystery, Austria's Semmering Railway achieved something even more audacious. It turned mountains into architecture. In 1854, when the Semmering Railway opened, doctors warned that traveling at altitude would cause lungs to explode, that the human body couldn't withstand the pressure changes. Instead, it became Europe's first mountain health resort, where Viennese aristocracy came to literally breathe above their problems. This was the world's first true mountain railway, the UNESCO's first railway World Heritage Site, the prototype that made all other mountain trains possible. Carl von Geiger, the engineer who designed it, solved problems that hadn't even been identified yet. His 16 viaducts and 15 tunnels don't just cross the landscape, they compose it, turning geography into symphony. Archaeological surveys have revealed the railway's secret. It follows ancient Roman trade routes, paths carved by legions 2,000 years ago. The Romans knew what modern engineers rediscovered. There's only one way through these mountains that doesn't fight gravity, but dances with it. The gradient never exceeds 2.5%, but angles so perfect that trains can coast for miles using only momentum. But here's what transforms journey into pilgrimage. The Semmering Railway created its own civilization. 11 grand hotels sprouted along the route, architectural jewels where Freud wrote, where Mahler composed, where the Habsburg Empire came to contemplate its own mortality. Today, many stand empty, ghost palaces where gilt ballrooms echo with nothing but wind. Yet the train still stops at their stations, as if waiting for an empire that never returned. Meteorologists studying the route documented a phenomenon locals call the Kaiser's window. a gap in the mountains where, on clear days, you can see from the Alps to the Hungarian plains, from winter to summer in a single glance. It happens perhaps 12 times a year when atmospheric conditions align perfectly. Those who witness it report understanding. Finally, why empires rise and fall. You can literally see the scope of human ambition against geological time. The Semmering doesn't just transport, it elevates between the elaborate viaducts and abandoned palaces, between Roman wisdom and Austrian ambition. You travel through the architecture of aspiration itself. And finally, if Austria built railways to reach the clouds, Portugal's Douro Line carved through granite to follow the river that defines a nation. "26 tunnels, 30 bridges, one river that flows uphill, at least that's how it appears from the train, an optical illusion created by terraced vineyards that rise 1,500 feet from water to sky. The Douro Line doesn't follow the river, it choreographs with it, a dance between iron and water that took 40 years to complete. This railway tells Portugal's liquid history. Port wine barges once took 2 weeks to navigate these rapids, facing death at every bend. The railway reduced it to 3 hours, transforming an industry, saving lives, creating what economists call the miracle of the Douro, the world's oldest demarcated wine region, suddenly accessible to the world. But the engineering statistics hide the human story. Each tunnel was carved by hand, by workers who signed their names in the rock. Miguel 1879, Antonio 1883. Modern laser scanning revealed over 3,000 signatures, a hidden record of the men who literally carved Portugal's future from granite. Their descendants still live in the villages above, keeping alive techniques for dry stone walling that UNESCO now protects as intangible heritage. Marine biologists studying the Douro discovered something remarkable. The railway changed the river itself. The constant vibration of passing trains creates microcurrents that oxygenate the water. Native fish species that had almost vanished have returned. The ecosystem literally pulses with the train schedule, a mechanical heartbeat that somehow returned the river to life. At Pinhão Station, decorated with 20,000 azulejo tiles depicting the wine harvest, something profound happens. You realize this isn't just a train following a river, it's Portugal's autobiography written in iron and water. Every bridge crosses not just the Douro, but centuries of tradition. Every tunnel pierces not just granite, but time itself. As the journey ends in Porto, where the river meets the Atlantic, where port wine cellars hold vintages older than most nations, the Douro Line delivers its final revelation. Some railways conquer landscapes, others reveal them, but the rarest ones, like this serpentine path through Portugal's heart, become part of the landscape itself, inseparable from the story of the land they cross. Eight railways, 8 revelations, but one truth emerges as constant as the rails themselves. These trains don't just transport, they transform. At 47 miles per hour, that perfect velocity for human perception, Europe stops being a destination and becomes a meditation. The Glacier Express taught us about time. The West Highland Line, about wilderness. The Bergen Railway showed us light and darkness. Each journey peeled back another layer of a continent we thought we knew. What connects these 8 routes isn't steel or stations. It's the space they create for wonder. In an age where we measure journeys in hours, saved rather than moments experienced, these railways commit an act of rebellion. They insist that the journey matters more than the arrival. That landscape is literature best read slowly, that there are some distances that shouldn't be shortened, some experiences that shouldn't be optimized. Climate scientists tell us many of these views are vanishing. The glaciers retreat, the ancient forests feel pressure, the villages empty as young people chase faster lives in distant cities. These railways have become archives, preserving not just routes but entire ways of seeing. Every passenger becomes a witness to wonders that might not exist for the next generation. But perhaps that's always been the secret of Europe's great railways. They were never just about getting somewhere. They were about becoming someone. Someone who has stood at the edge of Rannoch Moor and understood wildness, who has pierced the Black Forest and emerged with stories, who has climbed with the Douro and tasted time itself. The tickets are still available. The trains still run. The transformation still waits at exactly 47 miles per hour, that perfect speed where Europe reveals not just its landscapes, but its soul. The only question remaining is whether you'll be one of those who discovers it before it becomes just another story of what we once had and lost. The rails are calling. The journey beckons. Paradise, it turns out, was never a destination. It was always the view from a train window, moving at exactly the right speed to see everything that matters.